haven't been here in some ways before, and so, we're struggling to figure out our role and how much needs to be defined and certain at this point, and how much can still be worked out. And so I will share that for myself in terms of really thinking about what would we need to do to approve a charter, and then what could we leave to be worked out. I'm sort of mindful, going back to look at the charter law, the emphasis is on innovation and student achievement. And when I think about this application and the tremendous work that went on from last year to this year with staff support and technical assistance, I feel that in terms of the academic design and student achievement, I feel like there's a very strong academic design. We've had our curriculum experts share with us that they feel the curriculum design is very strong, that the assessment program is very strong, that our ability as a board to feel that we're holding this applicant to high expectations of being able to support student success. I feel like this application has met it on that. In terms of innovation, while I recognize there certainly are Montessori programs, we don't have one within MCPS. And some of as the applicant spoke to us about what we should consider, some of what they talked about was the ability to have 3-year-olds in the school, the ability to have the hands-on as well as authentic, hands-on instruction and engagement as well as authentic assessments, and the ability for students to sort of stay together, the kind of year-to-year looping. So those would be things that we don't currently offer. We did have some suggestion that some of our students, particularly some of our students with disabilities, might benefit from that type of instruction as something we could look at. I recognize that the total picture of the vision and the innovation is about serving low-income or disadvantaged students, and I think that the struggle to look at a catchment area to do something properly within the law, the original proposal had come to us in terms of targeted recruiting, but a way to do that properly within the law I certainly could support. But I feel like they're meeting the bar on the academic design. In terms of the operations, there are some contingencies built in here in terms of the kitchen, the food service, and some of the things that would need to be worked out, but I do feel those are appropriate within the planning year. I think what we're hearing from council is that while we haven't been down this road in terms of a waiver, the state board has granted it in the past, so we would hope that there would be some consistency there, and that is something that does have to be worked out. I assume what would happen is that we would go forward and try to get that done. And again, the spirit of this is to work in a partnership and a collaboration. So I think if it had to come back to us for tweaking, it certainly could. But I think if we're consistent with our policies and practices in defining the catchment area, that would help me. I feel on the financing, the key issue of concern last year, and one of the reasons I voted against this proposal last year, was a concern raised about the commingling of resources. I think it's been pretty carefully explained that a key difference from last year's proposal was that last year there was to be a private school running at the same time as the charter. This private school is going to close, and it's not simply going to close and reopen the same the next day, but it is truly closing. We've had representations from the applicant that this is really starting new, and so both our staff feels comfortable in terms of the concern about previous resources, and I think our council has advised that that is proper and appropriate within the grounds. So I feel that with this amendment, we're looking at an application that could meet the spirit, could hit a high bar in terms of expectations, and while there are details to be worked out, I think that's contemplated in both the negotiation of the contract and in the year to work out those details before we open.